stuff that we could talk about.
One aspect of the phenomena that keeps recurring is the manipulation of electronic devices. Here you'll see some examples of bizarre behavior in electronics during the event.
And I'm going to show you this briefly too, because see this little thing right here? This little object? It's a radar detector, okay? And the ETs like to use our gadgets sometimes. If they're whatever's available, they will often commandeer it and do something if it's helpful, you know. And like making a sound on it and stuff. And the way that works, where it's actually relevant, is again, the context, the provenance, what's going on. So with them, if they just make a sound, a lot of times the connection is when they want to accent something. You know, oftentimes it's been there where somebody says something's really important and they go, anyway, that thing has been sitting in my office on for the last week. Haven't heard a thing out of it. But before we started here, a little earlier, it went off. Just a little hello. You guys thought you heard it, right? So they like to use that and other things that we have. And so last week, last month, I was sitting right here, and I was talking about this, right, and how they like to use these things. And I was explaining about how a common thing is the 3 beeps that kind of some we've come to understand, where a lot of times if they go boop, 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 it's understood as, at the proper timing, as we are here. It's just a really common message. And I was explaining that, and then I said, and they can do a lot more too. And then that was the end of that. About a week later or so, I was playing back the audio from these things, which I do. So just because you can't absorb what actually happens at these events a lot of times just without some help like that. And anyway, I got to the spot where I'm talking about this, and I'm listening to the recorder that was made on this machine. And I get to there, and I say, and they can do other things too. Then a couple seconds later, I start getting this noise on my recording. And then I start hearing over top of me on the recording. And I'm thinking, that sounds like a radar detector. So let's listen to, oh, and here's the, let's see, here's the recording. Oh, no, that's not it. Where is it? Oh, here it is. It's on solo right here. So I looped and I put that recording that I just demoed with you, and I like looped it 3 times so you could hear it a little bit longer. Same thing, right? Same pitch. See what I'm playing there? Just playing this. Okay, so here's me talking about last month, sitting here talking about.
You can do other things too, but the guy right here in this room, do that. Well, it's I don't recognize this.
Is there any question that that's the same pitch? Anybody tone deaf enough that they can't?
I was going to say, I think in like the old movies when they had submarines or something, didn't they make that kind of sound too? I don't know.
Yeah, like a sonar.
Yeah, something like that.
You know.
Let's bring out the pitch pipe, you know.
I don't know enough about them.
There it is. That's the pitch.
You can do other things too,
It could do other things too.
but the guy right here in this room, do that.
It's exactly the same pitch as
Interesting though,
this.
that static is on there too.
Yeah, there's static. I don't understand the static. I've heard that a number of times, but maybe that's them doing some other funny thing. All right, here we are. So, if you take the real radar detector and you turn it on, first it makes some, and then it gives you an example of what it's going to sound like when it's actually being functioning. So I turn this off, and then I turn it on, and you're going to listen. So you hear the last few. That's the sound that it makes through and through, you know, when it's detecting radar. It's designed, these two microphones, they're sitting in the room, and whatever sound is in there is recorded at the time. This thing was not set up. There was no radar detector in the room. I might have been in the box, but there was nothing there. So, provenance again. We're talking about it can do other things, and right at that point, that sound is injected into my recording. And it sounds like a radar detector. I was, to me, I was caught, what do you call it, convinced right there. Because first of all, the timing. The timing was right after I said it can do other things. So just some sound come on there, and I never get a sound on a recording added to these things, never. So just right there that's proof of something. So I'm sure it was not helpful for us going through meditation, but
I had a really hard time trying to concentrate her.
yeah. Here's what it is. What was that all about? Is that the radar detector? It's also funny that it seems to have control of the volume.
Yeah.
I mean, there is a volume thing on there.
Something's loud, something's-
Yeah, is that normal? I don't know. I'll check that out.
That's fun.
Do stop. Stop. Thank you. Very much appreciated.
Said you wrote.
We don't get it all, but we're really.
Already are nothing about it.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that is.
So for the minute B, do you know what octave it is?
Huh?
Do you know what the octave is for the,
Of that?
of that B?
Yeah, that is, I do know which one that is, I forget what it's not the first one.
This was sort of honored by us, but they said don't look at the new ones. These ones are mostly sold in Japan, and they're over 200 bucks, so it's a small investment.
Sidestep over here and hear this a little bit. It's very, not very loud. It stopped when I came over.
Just kidding.
No, you okay? You didn't stop. Thank you so much.
Every time you say something contradictory,
Yeah, every time they say, we're not stopping. Thank you so much. We're gonna do our thing now, okay? Yes, I get it, you're agreed. I'm going back now, I'm gonna sit down.
that's pretty wild.
I hooked it up and started using it because I wanted to see what was normal with its operation, and I also read the book on it. I mean the instruction manual. And I will say the main thing is that I learned is that how, and you probably already know this, but the basic way that it works is by how fast it ticks is supposed to be indicative of the strength or the power of the radar beam, which is microwave beams. That's what they use. They shoot microwave. So it's electromagnetic waves, but it's in the microwave range. And so it's the same as a Geiger counter. But the beeps, I mean, if you get just run short, I mean, if they're spread out, then it means it's a real weak, a weak beam. The faster it is, the stronger it is. And so that's how it works. And it makes sense because if they made it so that it got louder or softer, to indicate the strength of it, then, and what if it gets too soft, you can't hear it, then you can't really tell what's going on anymore. Or if they attached it to the pitch, made it be low pitch when it's low power and high pitch when it's high power, they could have maybe done that. But if it gets too high, then it's going to be ultrasonic, and then you lose track of it. So the idea of having it be speeding up or slowing down makes sense because you can always hear it, and it's always, by the way, at the same volume all the time. It's supposed to be. It sounds louder if it's closer together, but the beeps are all the same volume, whether it's just one beep per 2 seconds or if it's 100 beats per second. So our thing was going up and down in volume a lot. And I don't know, there's something I have to check. There's a setting on the thing that makes it so that if it goes off really strong, it will be loud if it's turned up loud, and then it shuts it down after a couple seconds so that you don't have to listen to this loud thing all the time. And I don't know if our thing was just doing that because it was getting real loud and real soft, but it seemed like there were things in between too. Anyway, I turned off that feature, so next time we use it, it's not going to be going loud and then automatically soft if that's what it was doing. If it was just doing an inward thing that's set up, I don't know. Just one more thing about this. Another thing that happens at our events, there's all these different audio things, or people feel things, they hear things, they see things. We were seeing lights, in the eyes. People hear things. A very common thing when people hear things is that they don't just hear it everywhere, but oftentimes they hear it in just one ear. I mean, not just in one ear, like, oh, I think it's more on this side. No, it's in one ear. So the thing with the radar detectors, a lot of times, or other gadgets, you could have like a whole bunch of them sitting on a table, and they start talking to the radar detector, but they only talk to one of them. They're all set up to detect the same thing, but they only talk to one of them sitting on the table. It's very common. So, funny thing is, I didn't even think about it with this, but turns out they only record on one channel also. And I can prove it because I got it here in my software. So how did they do that? You know, if they're just coming and adding something and have two stereo mics here, right? That's all I can do is record like that. So I've seen quite a bit of that going on. It even has multiple recordings, he said. So I never gotten a recording of it. Well, I did have sort of a recording of it once, but it's pretty. I'd have to get into the details on that and tell you about it. Yeah, clicking, and then so we added like. What I did is I took the audio, and since that's pretty good software, I said let's split the left and the right into separate files. So we're only listening to either the left channel or the right channel. The other way I can do is turn off the speaker, but we don't have speakers to turn off here. So I did this, but okay, so let's listen to it again. This is just the left channel.
You can do other things too. But again, right here in this room, do that. And then,
Same thing.
what was the instance?
Now, let's go and listen to the right channel alone. There we go. Oh wait, it has to be solo again. Here we go.
And this thing has some opportunity. It's not just that it does it, but it does it at a certain time. You know, when something going on, and it just decides that it's going to use it, and it makes it like beep 3 times, for instance. We could do other things too. But again, right here in this room.
I remember the whole story.
Where is it? I don't hear it.
But these two guys were here, and
Anyway, too cool, huh? Well, the click came when it was like totally visible. It was only on that frame. It wasn't there like when it was coming in over a process of like 3 frames. First frame was like a little light in the sky. Second frame was a little more something. Third one was a lightish version of the thing that I call it, shiny saucer. Anybody want to share anything? People don't share, you know, and then later on I hear, my classic ones is the general subject, I guess, of what I'm getting at here is to, you know, we need to be skeptical of whatever we experience. Not as a skeptic that just, I don't believe any of that, you know, it's not like that, but things happen. We have got scammed once with somebody sent a drone up. We thought it was real once. We figured it out later on. But a lot of things happen, and a lot of things are real. You can see it here. This stuff is real. So, you know, when you put all this stuff together, that's provenance. That's what are the chances? You know, I could win the lottery. About the same chances. You know. Do you have audio that's where you said things were garbled or slowed or? Hopefully we're hooking up with that thing. We'll find out in a second.
This is an aspect of our consciousness is not what we are aware of. It is our capacity to be aware. time. We'll show during the next few minutes why this is so. But I wish you to consider, and beyond that, Mars and the rest of the planets. Filled with consciousness. The stars are all around. Our beautiful Milky Way is all around. Between our people and their people. Eyes and guide them to the location of your intended CE5.